is Rachel, and I'm here to tell you about a few exciting books that are going to be released on Tuesday, July 5th, 2016. First up is one that I have been so excited for. It's probably one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that is Victoria Schwab's The Savage Song. This is an urban fantasy young adult series that I believe is going to be a trilogy. And it's basically set in this kind of war-torn city where there are actual monsters because of all of the fighting and evil in the city. And I do have to say, originally I expected it to be kind of like Romeo and Juliet with monsters, but after reading several of the reviews, it seems like there is not a chance of that. I've read that it's pretty much romance-free, and I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed because I was really hoping for a little, like, romance with the, you know, cross between the monsters and the humans, but that's kind of creepy, I guess. Like, a romance with a monster and a human, but whatever. I still am pumped because it's Victoria Schwab, and I just love the idea of real-life monsters running around a city, and her writing is just amazing, so I'm sure it's going to be absolutely wonderful. So definitely stay tuned for that one. Next up is Learning to Swear in America by Katie Kennedy, and this is a YA, like, sci-fi-ish contemporary with sci-fi elements. Basically, the world is coming to an end. There's, like, I think it's a meteor that is headed towards the Earth, and they have this brilliant young prodigy from Russia that is in NASA working with the scientists to try to save the world. And he's still a teenager. I think he's like 17-ish. And it seems like he's probably been like an outcast his whole life, being like the super NASA genius. But when he's not with NASA saving the world, when he has a little downtime, he meets a quote-unquote normal girl who lives, you know, the typical teenage life, and I think he realizes maybe why he wants the world to be saved, if that makes sense. I don't know too much details, but I get a very contemporary vibe, and even if this one might be romance, but even if not, I think it's going to be a really great friendship that they create, and it sounds like a really interesting read with that, you know, apocalyptic element to it, so I don't know, it sounds really interesting. And also, like, looking at the Goodreads reviews, there are so many 5s on this, and a lot of people said it was their favorite book so far, so a lot of people really like this book. I think I will too. Next up is Lucky Strikes by Louis Bayard. This is a historical fiction geared towards middle grade / young adult, but a lot of the reviews said that because of the language and some of the content that maybe it should be more for like older teens. So I'm not sure, but it is a historical fiction set in the Depression era in rural Virginia. And basically, there's a family with 3 kids, and I guess the mother and the father are not in the picture. I think maybe the father wasn't in the picture before, and the mom dies, or vice versa, but whatever. The kids are left alone, and it's up now to the teenage daughter, the oldest of the children, to try to kind of save them from the foster care system. She doesn't want them all to be separated and go in there, so she decides she's going to run their gas station family business by herself. However, I think with the adults kind of encroaching on things, she decides she needs some help, so she enlists a local hobo to be their quote-unquote father, and then it carries from there. So this sounds kind of interesting. It seemed like it got pretty good reviews, but again, a lot of people said it was fairly vulgar for the age range. So keep that in mind, especially if you're gonna get this for a child, that it's probably geared more towards adult or older teens. Next up is Secret Lies and Scandals by Amanda K. Morgan, and I really wish it was Secret Lies and Alibis because it rhymes, but, you know, I'm sure that's probably already like 5 book titles, so I get it. But nonetheless, it's a young adult thriller, and the 2 titles that they kind of mentioned, like, if you like this, you'll like this type of book, is I Know What You Did Last Summer, so that's interesting, and How to Get Away with Murder, which is obviously a big hit television show. So they're saying, you know, this is kind of in the same vein as those, and that's definitely, I think, what's drawing a lot of people to this book. The main First line of the description on Goodreads is what got me. It says, "Nothing ruins summer vacation like a secret, especially when it involves a dead teacher." Interesting. That is very terrifying as an educator myself. This has a very, what was that book called? Like Killing Mr. Green by Lois Duncan. It has that kind of feel to it, it seems like. But basically it's this group of teens all somehow involved with this teacher's death, whether they were involved in the death itself or just the cover-up or finding the body or however. They're all involved, and several of them, of course, are wanting to keep it a secret and not tell anybody. I think there's one who does want to report it to the cops because he's feeling guilty, and one is looking to frame the other ones, and it's just how this group kind of carries on after this apparent death of a teacher. So it sounds like a really interesting murder mystery for young adults. Next up is The Wolf Road by Beth Lewis, and this is an adult thriller. Again, it's kind of marketed as The Road meets True Grit, which I haven't read either of those, but I know they're very kind of dark and apocalyptic, so that's what I take from this. And I think it is. I think there's been some sort of apocalyptic event, and like there's no electronics. Everybody's kind of off the grid and like, you know, like the grizzly type of people. Man versus man, basically, and this man finds a 7-year-old walking alone on a road, and he kind of takes her in and adopts her, and he raises her and teaches her how to hunt and really, you know, survive in this post-apocalyptic world. However, the girl finds that he's hiding some sort of a dangerous secret, and she tries to leave, and the question is, will he let her leave? So the review said that it was, you know, fairly dark, and that some people hinted that maybe it could be graphic in some of the descriptions, so be warned for that. And most of the reviews were 3, 4, and 5 stars. I didn't see much below a 3, so that seems like a really dark, deep read, but very interesting and definitely a thriller. Next up is a juvenile fantasy, probably middle grades. It's called Voyage to the Magical North by Claire Fayers. And basically this involves a girl who has lost her memory of her previous life, and she's discovered in a boat in the ocean. She's taken in by a magician and works with his young apprentice, who she finds kind of annoying, and then something goes wrong and they have to escape, and they run into a pirate who is searching for the magical north. So magic, pirates, possible orphans with memory loss. Sounds pretty intriguing. So those are some books that I am excited for coming out again on July 5th. If you plan on reading any of these, let me know down below. I'd love to know. And if you know of any other books that are coming out July 5th and you'd like to share, feel free to mention those down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel to be notified when I post new videos, and you can follow me on all social media pretty much at Rachel Fryman. And that is all I have, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon with another video. Bye for now.